Hello folks, this is Sula speaking, and you're watching a commentary video for League of Legends. This one featuring Heimerdinger, so another new champion. I'm playing in a full premade 5v5, premade with both sides, so this is a custom game. I'm playing with Sunrise, playing as a Mumu, with Cole, who's playing as Sion, with Varus Nox, who's playing as Xinjiao, and with Mookie, who's playing as Evelynn. And this is actually Mookie's first game ever playing as Evelynn, so it would be kind of interesting to see. We are playing against another pre-made 5 team with Roland playing Shen, with Atlas playing as Warwick, with Ashane, who's playing as Twisted Fate, with Uberfish playing as Anivia, and Termith, who's playing as Sona. This is a continuation of our last playing session. If you watched the previous League of Legends video I uploaded, it was this same group, and fortunately on this one night we had enough people online that we could do a couple of full pre-made games 5-on-5. In my experience, these are the best and most fun games to do. This game is most fun when you're playing with friends and against friends, and you can play games where people don't, rage quit or act like idiots and do that sort of stuff. So I use these games as a chance to experiment and have fun, fool around, so that's why I'm playing as Heimerdinger. I have played a little bit as Heimer, but not in ages and not seriously in a very long time. If you notice there at the start, I started walking as though I were going towards the top lane. That's because the other team, Termith on the other team, has Clairvoyance as Sona, so I wanted to make them think that I was going towards the top lane. But in actuality, I'm going to take the middle lane. As far as laning assignments go, I'm going to take the middle lane. When playing as Heimer, Heimer pretty much should always solo middle lane. That's how he's most effective, as I'll explain later. I'm going to be playing in the middle lane against Ashane's Twisted Fate. As far as the top lane, Cole is going to take the top lane with Sion, and he's going to be playing against Uberfish's Anivia. So our team is going to be very heavy on magic damage, with our two solos being Cole, or being Sion and being Heimer. As far as the bottom lane, we are going to have Sunrise playing as a Mumu, and Varus Nox playing as Xinjiao take the bottom lane, and they're going to be laning against Roland Shen and against Termith Sona. And then the two junglers on the other team, Atlas is going to jungle with Warwick, and on our team, Mookie's going to jungle with Evelynn. So they probably have the stronger, well, not probably, they definitely have the stronger jungle. There's no question about that. As for one thing that's odd is that Sunrise is going to be playing in the lane with a Mumu instead of jungling with a Mumu. The logic there was Sunrise wasn't sure whether to take a champion that he was unfamiliar with or whether he was going to play a Mumu, who he's played a lot, even though he wasn't going to be jungling. So Sunrise just decided he'd rather take a champion that he's more familiar with, and that's why he is going to be laning with the Mumu, even though that's a pretty weak option. A Mumu is very weak in the lane, but of course we'll have him for later on in team fights, that sort of thing. Alright, over here, I'm just going to toss 2 wrenches at Golem and then head back to the lane. Now, Heimer as a champion is very unique. He doesn't play really like any other champion. If you're looking for a comparison, probably the closest I can think of is maybe Sivir, because they're both champions that focus on pushing. If there's one thing that Heimer does, is he push lanes. That's what he does. He farms and he push lanes, and that's what he does due to his skill set. I've already placed one of Heimer's skills. I'm going to talk about that one first. His Q skill is he places these little turrets on the ground. There's a fancy name for it. It's like HG88 turret or something like that. But whatever, they're just his turrets. What he does is puts these little turrets on the ground. You saw me run out and put one down very early in the game. That's one thing you want to do if you're playing as Heimer, because his turrets have a very long cooldown and they're very expensive in terms of mana. You can run out and put down one of his turrets right at the beginning, and then you can you'll have enough mana then by the time minions actually spawn to plant another one or do whatever. So in any case, you can see I've got one turret down. At rank 1, Heimer can only put down one turret. When he puts a second point in the skill, he can have 2 of them. Now, he used to be able to have 3 turrets on the map at once. Heimer used to be much, much stronger than he is right now, but they nerfed him many, many patches ago, and now he can only have 2 of them, so I'm already maxed out. Additional points in the skill will make your turrets stronger and give them some extra abilities. They'll do more damage, they have more health. But ultimately you can only place 2 of them, which is a bit of a shame. I kind of liked it when he had 3, not just because it was more powerful, but just because it was a little bit more strategic in terms of setting up his turrets. Heimer would need about 20 to 30 seconds before he could put all 3 of them down in order to become effective. But this is what you want to do with this turret. You set up his turrets and then you farm. And you farm, 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 until you just have way more minion kills, and and then I get an item and a leveling advantage over everybody else. And so that's what Heimer does. He's sort of like a magic damage version of Sivir, who plays out kind of similarly with their boomerangs. Sivir's just going to push the lane and push and push and push, and that's her goal. So that's what I'm going to do here with Heimer. I'm just going to keep pushing this lane and pushing this lane and pushing this lane and farming and farming and farming until I can push down this tower here in mid. So anyway, that's his first skill. His Q skill is his turrets. It's what Heimer's most known for. Heimer has other skills though. His second skill, his W skill, are his Hex Tech micro rockets. That's what you see me using. This is a skill that you don't aim. When you press the W button, it will fire off 3 rockets automatically, and it will hit I believe it hits the closest targets to Heimer. At low ranks, the skill doesn't do much damage, but when you put more points in it, it actually does a lot of damage. And one advantage of it is that you don't have to aim the skill, so you will automatically hit if you're close to the target. Now right there, you saw me put down another turret. I wanted to increase. I wanted to get another turret down because now that I have my 3rd point in the turrets, you can see they turn green and they do more damage. Unfortunately, I put it down in the wrong spot. I had forgotten what was the more recent turret, so now I've got them in the spots I want, and they're going to go ahead and farm minions for me with no problem. And I'm going to shoot a Shane there with my micro rockets again. Okay, finishing up the discussion of his skills, Heimer's E skill is something called Concussion Grenade, and I think it has another fancy name, but it's just known as this grenade pretty much. This is one skill that you do target. It's Heimer's skill that has the most range. You get a little targeting circle, and you chuck his grenade. The grenade does pretty good damage. It actually does the most damage of any of his skills. It does less damage than the rockets because there are 3 rockets and there's only 1 grenade, but it has the best ability power ratio of his skills. It has the most range, but you do have to aim it. It's a skill shot. So like right there, you saw me hit a Shane's Twisted Fate with it. Now the 2 things that the grenade does besides just damage. When you hit with the grenade, if you just hit someone anywhere on their character sprite with the grenade, it will blind them for a couple of seconds. It blinds for longer depending on how many ranks of the skill you have. So like right there, I hit him with damage, and so that gave him the blind effect. But if you hit them directly on their character sprite, like you have to hit them exactly in the middle of the grenade circle, then you will also get a stun, and the grenade will stun for, I think, 1.5 seconds, less if I remember that correctly. So it's a skill shot that it can be difficult to hit with, but if you do pull it off correctly, you can blind the enemy champ and you can stun them. So if you can place your grenade effectively, it can be a very, very useful, very, very good skill. But as I said, it's a skill shot, so you have to hit. Finally, Heimer's ultimate is called Upgrade, all in capital letters with an exclamation mark. It has a passive and an active function. Its passive is that it reduces his cooldowns. I think it reduces it 10%, 15%, 20% as you skill it. The active function is that it instantly heals all of Heimer's turrets, and it causes them to shoot freezing shots that slow the target for a couple of seconds and they hit. So it's a pretty weak ultimate. It's one of the weaker ultimates in the game. But if you're in the middle of a fight and your turrets are about to die and you can instantly heal them with your ultimate, then it actually can do quite a bit of damage, and it can slow people to prevent them from getting away. So it's not great, but it's not terrible either. By the way, you might have noticed here Atlas's Warwick came over to cover the lane, and he actually used his smite on my Heimer turrets. And yes, you can smite Heimer turrets, for those who aren't aware. Just like you can smite Annie's Tibbers, you can smite the turrets as well. And that's actually a pretty good use of smite if you're covering the lane. Anyway, the gameplay with Heimer is pretty simple, as I mentioned. It's push, 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 push. Just keep pushing the lane over and over and over again. So that's what I'm trying to do here. You can see I have not had to go back to base even once yet. That means I'm already close to level 8, and I've been keeping this lane pushed. I've been keeping it up against the tower. It's been allowing me to out-farm a Shane. Now I finally am going to go back and buy, but my turrets will still be there and keep the lane pushed. I have 48 minion kills. He has 19, so you can see just how decisively I've been out-farming him so far. This is both Heimer's greatest strength and one of his weaknesses. In lower level games, in games where people don't have as much practice, if people don't know how to play against Heimer, he can just farm like crazy, get farmed up, and be super strong. By the way, notice how I'm gaining experience from my towers, even though I'm not there. So yes, you can actually even get experience when you're back at the base, experience in gold, which is kind of neat. But the reason why Heimer doesn't really work in high level games, sort of like really high skill games, is at the highest levels, everybody can farm with every champ You know, they don't need Heimer turrets to farm effectively. People can farm with any champ. So you're not going to get like super farmed up with Heimer. He's going to lose his advantage, and at that point, you know, he's not really going to be that much better than any other champ. So he's not going to be that useful. But for a game like this, for a game where we're kind of fooling around, we're having fun. Heimer's a ton of fun to play. He's one of the more entertaining champs in the game. You know, you just keep setting up those towers and you keep pushing and keep pushing the lane and pushing the lane and pushing the lane, and just get an incredible amount of farm. I think that Ashane didn't have a lot of experience in playing against Heimer, just based on the way that I saw this here. And really, you need to play against Heimer to get some practice. Now, like right there, I led the grenade perfectly, and did you see I was able to get in a stun on Ashane there? So then I was able to follow that up with micro rockets. Now, they didn't do much damage because I put all my points into my turrets thus far. I've put 4 of my 8 points into turrets. But as I increase in level, they'll pack more and more of a punch. And notice that every time that Ashane kills one of my turrets, I just instantly replace the turret again. So this is one reason why it can be so frustrating to play against a Heimer player. Like, you expend all this time and effort to kill his turrets, and then he just instantly replaces them again. And then, you know, he just sets them back up again. I've also maxed out the turrets right now. They're max rank. I've put 5 points in the skill. So now they're glowing red, and they'll be firing those little explosive shots that do tons of damage. Over there, elsewhere, Mookie was killed by Atlas. Mookie was actually struggling quite a bit early on in this game, just because he had never played Evelyn before, didn't really quite know how to build Evelyn. It also, we didn't really have good team setup here, just in terms of how we picked our champs. In order to play Evelyn, you need to have the lanes. You need to have the lanes like push back towards your own towers so that Evelyn can run out invisible, stealth, and then come in behind people and kill them. But with Heimer, that doesn't work because Heimer is always going to have the lane pushed. That's just what Heimer does. He pushes lanes. So my champion pick and Mookie's champion pick really don't have any synergy towards each other at all, and in fact kind of work at cross purposes. So this really wasn't the best team setup. Again, it was more for fun than anything else. And by the way, notice how, because I've got this lane pushed, the tower was eating all those minions. Oh, Atlas came in here. I think he was trying to get a kill on me. I just tossed a grenade, and with the blind effect, he couldn't even do anything. So that was very easily avoided. And then I popped my ultimate on the towers. There you see, to try to slow him as he ran away. If I had what I should have done there was I should have exhausted Atlas. If I had used my exhaust on him, then Mookie probably could have come in, and we very likely could have gotten a kill there. So that was a misplay by me. I had the exhaust. I should have used it. That probably would have been a kill, particularly with me using my ultimate to get the slowing effect. Then Mookie could have come in and stunned him with Evelyn. So a missed opportunity there is what I would say. Overall, I'm still clearly winning the lane. I'm doing what I should be doing with Heimer. You can see I've worn down Ashane. Every time that someone comes into the lane to try to help out Ashane, I think Atlas has come over here 2 or 3 times. Every time he comes in, I just wear him down. And so, like, look, I'm going to back him off, back him away from these minions with another grenade, and the tower is going to eat these minions, and he's not going to get the gold bonus from killing them. Or maybe he gets some. I don't know if he got that one or not. Anyway, I was trying to replace a turret that was almost dead, but once again I forgot which one I had put down first, and so the 2 of them are like right on top of each other, which is not where I want them to be. So anyway, now I'll fix that turret and repair things the way I want them to. Anyway, so by now, hopefully you've been able to see that the Heimer gameplay looks like. You can see I'm just slowly wearing down these towers, slowly pushing them down. You can see that middle lane tower there is just getting lower and lower and lower, and there's really not all that much that Ashane can do. I'm just going to keep pushing this tower until it's dead and continue getting minion kills. Now, right there, if I had landed a grenade on Ashane and stunned him and then popped my ultimate, again, I might have been able to kill him there if I had more practice with Heimer. But anyway, my main goal is not to get a kill here. My main goal is to push down that tower. That's my #1 goal. I want to push down that tower. I want to destroy that tower as soon as possible while continuing to farm as much as possible. And I think I've been pretty successful. Also, when he started attacking my towers here, I should have popped my ultimate just to heal them up. That was just a waste. One of the better uses of his ultimate is if someone tries to kill your towers, just pop your ultimate and then they're back to full health again. Anyway, getting to the end of this video, so I'm going to continue this next time in part 2, where we'll continue this game and get out of the farming phase.